Welcome to the first episode of INTI's Table Talk, where we discuss issues pertaining to the different fields that the university has at hand. Today is our first episode with Dr. Hafez from the Faculty of Engineering and Quality Surveying, and we are going to discuss about climate change, Doctor.
Yes, climate change, yeah.
Doctor, what is the difference between all the situations that we see in social media when we discuss about plastics, the straws of the turtle's nostrils? Is that climate change?
Somehow it has some relation directly or indirectly to climate change, but the concept of climate change is larger than that. In terms of throwing plastic in the ocean, in the coastal area, yes, it can cause a lot of trouble. I have seen a lot of video where dolphin is died because the plastic bag stuck in his throat and all these things. It's very sad video. And actually some of them, they come to the coast and commit suicide because they cannot breathe. When they open their body, they find a lot of plastic and waste material. This is a crime. This is a crime.
Totally.
But unfortunately, we cannot detect who's doing it. But indirectly, of course, some people also throw other things, not only plastic, and the fish eat it. Then you catch a fish and you eat it and you give to your kids, and that's one reason of increasing the rate of cancer, liver problem, other problem. So we actually hurting ourselves indirectly. So
that is pollution.
That's the pollution. To a certain extent, the other type of pollution, like haze, if you remember, usually in September, some places in Indonesia, they burn the jungle, and during the dry spot, we get in Malaysia here, we get a very hazy,
difficult to
climate,
breathe.
Difficult to breathe. It also is a kind of pollution which has effect on our health and also on the climate change.
How does this pollution affects or creates climate change?
Actually, all this is considered, or pollution in general is considered a small factor in the big equation of climate change. Climate change actually it's due to the increased rate of CO2 and methane. But if the rate is in balance, we shouldn't have problem. But due to the cars, power plant which run on coal and all these things, or natural gas, that cause increase of CO2 in the atmosphere. Or cement factory, by the way.
Cement factories,
We produce 1 ton of cement equal to 1 ton of CO2. That's why most of the European country transfer their cement factory to most of the third world countries, but cement is producing a lot of CO2. Not only that, some places like, especially on tropical area, when we have dams, the reservoir of the dam, which initially is considered a big mass of water. Under that mass of water, we have a lot of greeny forest. Because initially before the dam it was greeny forest.
Correct.
Then once you fill up the dam and you create your reservoir, all the greeny already under the water, and that gradually start producing big amount of methane, and methane actually is more dangerous than CO2. But that one people cannot count it how much methane is produced. It's difficult. So you see most of the paper talking about climate change, they talk about CO2.
Correct.
Why we can count how much CO2, we can measure CO2.
We can measure CO2,
but it is very difficult to measure methane. That's why we avoid talking about it. But in my belief, methane is more dangerous than CO2. Because and of course all this CO2 and methane, it goes up to the upper layer of atmosphere and makes something like a glass dome. Which cause the temperature in the heat is increasing, the Earth's temperature, not the atmosphere.
So the methane keeps the heat inside this next to air.
Yes, it prevents the releasing of the heat to the space. Okay. So it become something like mirror. So the heat being reflected.
Oh,
right?
So it's double effect.
Yes, that's why that has increased our Earth, our home, Earth's planet, by something around 1.1 degree compared to last century.
In a century.
Compared to previous century.
So what is the impact of that 1.1 degree?
You look at something very small.
Yeah, it looks like one.
Okay, in Malaysia here, for day temperature, sometimes increase 5-6 degree, right?
Yes.
But we still can accommodate it. We still can adopt
we under aircon.
Yeah, but when we talk about our Earth planet, the temperature of the Earth planet as a planet increase 1.1. That has a dramatic effect on the current in the ocean, wind. It has a lot of serious impact on that. Like we have now on the North Europe, we have the current which usually has to go there and bring food to the fish and all these things is slowing down over the last 10 years. Then most of the salmon fish, they are having a big problem over there because they don't receive the amount of food they used to receive, and that because of the slowing of the current goes to from Atlantic to the North Europe. So it has a lot of impact on the living things in the ocean. Some things we can measure, we can count. Some things difficult to count.
Part of this global change or climate change effect. I mean, we have seen the change of stations or seasons, like let's call it that. Right now in Malaysia, is raining like people haven't seen in many years, especially elderly people. They talk to us that they have seen more rain than usual, and how's that affecting? You are expert in dams.
Oh, yes.
More water, that doesn't mean necessarily that it's good water.
Okay, let me explain some things. The degree or the temperature of the Earth planet itself is relating to the current in the ocean. It is relating also to movement of the rain and clouds and wind. So usually in South Asia here we have two important phenomena. One called El Nino, one called El Nina. And that is moved on the equator.
Correct.
From somewhere near to Indonesia, go to the west to the Latin America, Chile and all these countries. Correct. This phenomenon, it is there, has nothing to do with the climate change.
It's natural movement of water.
Yeah. And we used to that. But what climate change add to that phenomenon, it make it very extreme. So when it comes with the rain, come with a lot of rain. A lot compared to the previous century. And we come with a dry season, very dry. So it become very extreme. That's the effect of the climate change. But as a phenomena, for centuries we are living with it. We know how to behave, the pattern of the phenomena. But climate change make it very severe. And also, we used to have it almost something, a few years El Nino, a few years El Nina. Now we cannot predict. Yeah, sometimes you have El Nino 2 years and 6 years El Nina, or different. So due to the climate change, we cannot predict whether this coming year will be part of El Nino or part of El Nina.
So it became totally unstable.
Totally unstable. That's why you see even it's also affect Europe. You see Europe last winter, and actually one of the bad things which many scientists doesn't want to talk about it. Two things. One thing is the shifting of the North Pole. The North Pole is moving almost every month something around 1.5 kilometers to the east.
Oh, wow.
All right. So that has the North Pole has some effect on the bird immigration, and due to that also that has caused some alteration on the magnetic field, which make people on the Earth are quite vulnerable to the sandstorms. Sandstorms is important things. We should be protected. of sandstone, but due to the some trouble of the thickness of the magnetic field, some scientists for the last 5 years, they said our magnetic field already has cracks, which allow solar storm to enter, and that was one reason of the increasing the rate of the skin cancer. There is a strong relation, which people doesn't like to talk about it, is when the core of the Earth receives this solar storm, which it is kind of radiation, gamma ray. This goes down to the core of the Earth and increase the temperature, and that cause some earthquakes. That's why over the last 10 years, if you compare mainly the east part of the Pacific Ocean, something like Solomon Island, Papua New Guinea, the rate of earthquakes has really increased dramatically in terms of rate and in terms of
intensity,
magnitude.
I have this application on the app that alerts me from any equatorial. Well, you must know, coming from Mexico, I'm get used to the land movement. But yes, you're right. The amount of small and big earthquakes has been increasing. Almost every week.
That is relating to the gamma.
Fiji Island, Solomon Island earthquake, and there's one that is called the Christchurch, and all those places that are in the Pacific.
Actually, that area is a kitchen of earthquakes.
Kitchen of earthquakes.
Yes, all the earthquakes created at that spot, spread to the west.
The plaque need to adjust.
Something like snooker. When you play snooker, you need to hit one ball, and that ball will hit other balls. It's the same things. But the main earthquakes is actually created at the far east point, Solomon Island, and all these things. So climate change has, as I said, has allowed solar storm to enter our planet. So we have actually a lot of problem due to that. Like in most of the country now. Initially, I'm coming from Egypt, from Alexandria, which I think by November this year, Egypt will hold the international summit for global climate change. Like the one which has been held last year
Paris and in Kyoto.
No, it was held in Glasgow, England.
Glasgow,
right? And I remember the Prime Minister of England has mentioned Alexandria by name, because my city is actually drowning due to the raising of the sea level. We have a lot of cities, very popular cities, which it is drowning due to the erasing of the.
Those, isn't it?
Yes. So we have in China, we have in Egypt, we have in Maldives Island, all these islands and low land, or that is subjected to kind of drowning.
There are two theories, Dr. Hafez, about climate change. Okay, there are those who, like us, we believe and we read the data and we realize that it's accelerating. But there are others that say it has been always happening. It's the history of the Earth per se, millions of years. It has been happening. It just happened that in this time, humans are here and we take knowledge of it. Is there anything that humans can do to reduce or do something about it?
Okay, this cycle where we call ourselves human being.
Exactly.
20,000 years ago, we have another societies which Homo sapien. All right, and most of them they finished due to the climate change. We are going to suffer. Then we have an ice age. We have a gap, something around 20,000 years, which most of the world was ice.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. There's still kind of Homo sapien, something like the native in New Zealand and all these things.
Because they were isolated.
Yeah. So you could actually travel between Asia and Europe without passing any ocean because the ocean was ice.
Yes.
You know. So that is that happening in human being, and we don't know how many cycle has happened. All right.
Exactly.
But what we know due to the climate change, we know the north and south poles has been changed. So the south goes to the north goes to the south. But it won't happen in our lifetime. But definitely it's on the way. Like I mentioned just now, the North Pole is moving around 1.5 kilometers per month for the last 5 years. So we don't know, maybe in 200, 300 years, the whole thing changed.
Where it's going to be?
Yeah. So it is really, the climate change is one big element even in creating the human society, right, and finish up the human society. It happened before, and it could happen this time and in future as well. So it is big problem. I pity the new generation who's going to live for the coming 50 years. Actually, climate change is going to
affect them more.
Affect them very badly. I really pity them, like my kids and all these young boys. You know, it's really climate change has to be considered as one element of their own life.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Hafez, for this interesting talk. There will be another opportunity to dip into your research.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much. Guys,
welcome.
This was the first episode of Inti's Table Talk. We hope you like it. Wait for more. Thank you very much.